to Ascension TV Online. It is so good to be here again this week. And this week we have Andrea, a friend of mine from Portugal. She lives in the Serra da Estrela area of Portugal, near the mountains, which are just absolutely beautiful. And we had many beautiful discussions and times in Portugal. Not as many, I'm going to say this on my heart, not as many as I would have liked to. But it's just so beautiful to have you on the show, Andrea. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey and how you got to this moment now?
This moment now. Okay. um I would say really my awakening probably started in early 2000. I
Yeah.
found out later on there in time in my studying that there was a grand cross alignment in the December of 1999, and being a bit of a star seed, it just like clicked. It was my click
Oh,
on moment. Yeah.
that is interesting. I'm going to talk to you when we're off the show because I totally had that energy then as well. That is interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
yeah, and it was like someone threw a switch, and I just suddenly almost had this awareness. At the time, I was married, I had two young children, my own business, and I just realised it was the wrong life for me, if you like. And I could see energetically that my husband was having an affair with a friend. I suddenly saw the like webs between them energetically,
Yeah.
and I was
You.
so I was in that typical life of married, two kids, big house, own business, and
Mm,
doing the normal 3D
mm.
thing.
Yeah.
And suddenly it was like rug pulled out from under my feet, and what do I do?
Yeah.
And what happened was that somebody recommended that I had a nanny come into the house, and she happened to do yoga, and I was completely non spiritual, non psychic at that point. As far as I was concerned, I knew nothing about this way of life,
Yeah.
and I went along to the yoga classes,
Mm.
and it was that yoga teacher who started teaching me the very basics about angels and feathers and manifesting, and
Mm.
gave me like little, I'd have a yoga lesson and then she would give me little lessons and
Yeah.
things to try in how to manifest books or parking spaces and that type of thing. And it was her that actually led me to Portugal back in 2002, because
I,
yeah, it was the beginning. She did a yoga retreat here for 1 week. She
wow.
actually was bipolar, which we none of us knew,
Okay.
and she had an episode. So our yoga retreat ended up being cancelled, and the
Okay.
guy who owned the retreat took us out and was showing the locality. And I had this vision, now as a vision of living on the land very simply in a village,
Yeah.
and going back to basics, but having a like a healing center. Well, I didn't know anything about those things in 2002.
Right.
And my kids were very young. I was newly divorced, and when I got home, my family was like, you're crazy. You can't just throw this
I know
away
that
and go
one.
live off grid in the mountains of Portugal.
Yeah.
So I decided to like to stay,
Yeah.
and um made the promise that as and when the children finished their education, I would come back out and explore Portugal.
Right.
But then the next 10-year period, it was almost like an acceleration in
Mm.
spirituality. Like
Mm.
all of these things started happening to me in my normal day-to-day matrix life, and people started presenting themselves to me. So I was running a care business, for example. Someone came to work with me as a manager called Julie, and she happened to be like a spiritual healer doing hands-on healing. And we were in this like tall office block, and people kept coming into the office of my care business to have hands-on healing. Well, she used to keep making me go and put my hands on these people as well, and I didn't have a clue what I was doing, and thinking this woman's crazy, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then somebody came in who had cancer, and she was in the final stages, and she said,
Right.
just put your hands on her, and we're just going to have the intention of sending her healing for her journey. You know,
Yeah.
she wasn't going to recover at that stage.
Yeah.
I just put my hands on her and I closed my eyes, and it was like this fire just came out of the ground and up my legs and through my body and down my hands. It was such an intense experience, and I was so shocked as to what was happening, that after that she invited me out to Tenerife, and there was a group of people there who were trance channels, and they used to do physical mediumship circles, and they used to do trance channeling with various beings. And they were telling me that I had this experience. I'd never heard of this kind of thing before. I was still quite a newbie.
Yeah.
And we were sitting in this restaurant eating, and they were talking to me, and I for the first time felt something very tall energetically walk up behind me and merge with me,
Right.
and my whole body radiated heat. And they all just like looked at me because they had intuitive sight, and I just went, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Because I was just, my whole body was burning, and I could feel the energy of something in me. And this is why they could say I could do trance mediumship. But they said to me it's one of the ascended masters,
Right.
and it was a Tibetan master, and told me it was de Cool, which I'd never heard of. And
Interesting.
yeah, which was really interesting. So that was literally my
I
baptism.
pulled some cards for this evening
Right.
for myself, but and
Yeah.
Cool is on he's
Uh-huh.
one of the guides that that helps me. So anyway,
Yeah.
the card came out, Cool.
Which is interesting. Yeah. And it's like I this woman was suggesting that I was very stressed at that time. You know, I was newly divorced, I had my own business, working long hours, and she suggested I went and had Reiki with somebody who did crystal healing and Bach flower remedies, which I did, and I felt so much better for it. I was very scientific and logical up until then, and I wanted to understand what was happening to me, and I want to explore it. So I signed up for my first Reiki. I went for a Reiki training, and I also signed up for what I thought was a 1-year crystal healing course.
Yeah.
But it turned out this guy was a Kabbalist, and he understood the tree of life and astrology and tarot. So the lesson was the course was a lot more, a lot more. And I just sat in the course thinking, I'm not psychic, I don't know anything, not really feeling energy, what am I doing? And over the course of that, I actually realized that then was the first time when people were understanding having empathy and being sort of sensitive. And I realized then it made me look more at my childhood and my sensitivity and how empathic I am and aware of my, the family environment. So it kind of, that year opened everything up, and then that went on to another crystal healing training that went on to sound healing, DNA healing. And it was like, I wasn't looking for these people, like one after the other was coming, and then my gifts and skills were developing. And I trained with somebody called William Bloom, the Psychic Centre in London, and he talked about the different clairsentience and clairaudience and claircognizance, and he said, he was explaining that if you're clairaudient or clairvoyant, which is what most people were, they were kind of like lower astral level intuitive psychic abilities.
Yeah.
But the next level, the mental level, was if you were claircognizant,
Yeah.
or clairsentient. And I thought, well, I've been that all my life, but I never saw that as
You
being
didn't know
my
what it was. Yeah.
intuitive gift. I didn't know what it was. I just thought I wasn't psychic because I couldn't see or hear at that
I
stage.
get you. And I'm just going to stop you there, Andrea, to just say for our viewers that if you haven't heard those words, what it is. So correct me if I'm wrong, but claircognizance is when you just have knowings about things. And that's what I had had. So when I realized
Yeah,
and I started doing studying and things, I was like, oh, because I would get now, like a download and you just like, boom, and you're like,
yeah,
people be like, what are you saying? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm just this, and
yes,
you then
yeah,
have to realize you can't just say that because a lot of people just won't accept it as given, but
yeah,
it just feels
yeah,
right for you, isn't it? And
yes,
Claire sentience is when you have feelings, so you might go, so in
yeah,
fact, so I didn't say this, but Andrea lives on the land that I previously lived in Portugal, and through the course of Andrea and I knowing each other, in this life, we kind of found out we'd lived on that land in other lives. And I think both of you and I separately, when we went to land, we had a knowing of like, oh, it feels like home. I don't know about you, but that's,
yeah,
yeah,
yes,
and
yeah,
that's the type
definitely,
of
yeah,
thing of how that shows up. Like you just know, oh, this feels
yeah,
right. When I moved into this flat, I was like,
yes,
yeah, it's this flat. Yeah, cool. Not my ideal.
yeah,
I want my place in the country and all the stuff, but I knew it was this flat for now, and that's how that can
yeah,
manifest. So if you're watching and you think, well, I'm not psychic because I don't have inner vision, I don't have that
mm,
vision, clairvoyance, or I don't hear spirit, like I'm not clear audio.
yeah,
Maybe because you're tuning in, and I was shown this as well some years ago. It's just frequencies, vision, da da da,
mm,
sound. They all have different frequencies, and the knowing is like where you are like telepathic, basically, with your higher self or source or other
yeah,
things, isn't it? Yeah. So anyway, just
yeah,
wanted to
yeah,
say
yeah,
that if
definitely,
somebody was watching,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
yeah,
And that's it. And when I went on to do some esoteric training later on, that's how she explained it to us, is that your psychic mediums are generally working on the astral level,
yeah,
and connecting to people that have passed over that are in spirit. But if you go up to the mental realm, the next level, this is where the claircognizance, clairsentience come in, but then you're channeling, higher frequency beings. So that's why you may connect to archangels or ascended masters, or guides from other planetary systems. You're not just connecting with people that have passed over, that are in spirit, so like mum and dad and grandparents. So that was part of the development. And then around 2006, yeah, I took on my first healing center. And then that again was another steep learning curve, because I had my care business, and what was my training room became my first healing center. And it was like a hobby, really. People that I was meeting and networking with would come along and teach in the evenings or in the weekend. And I was seeing clients by then, because I'd done my Reiki and crystal healing. I'd done some sound healing. And then that's when life started to get more crazy. Instead of being what I've always called like fluffy bunny Reiki person, a
yeah,
lot of the more unusual characters started coming in. So I had a lot more Wiccans, druids,
yeah,
shamans, light workers, first people that were connecting and working with celestial beings
sure,
and ETs. And I ran workshops with like crystal skulls and talking about ley lines. And I didn't charge people to use the space. I just sat in on the workshop. So I was having very eclectic
nice,
training. And it was a
yeah,
really crazy few years,
nice,
with my whole, I don't know, like my sense of what's real just being
shaken,
challenged.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
great,
And then what happened after that, I started to meet people who were going down various rabbit holes around conspiracy theories. So all of the conspiracy theories I was starting to be presented with and looking at, and looking for evidence,
yeah,
and then understanding what's going on in the world. And that's what's triggered me to want to come back out to Portugal, because I realized it was very important to reconnect to nature and live closer to nature and be more self-sufficient. So it was very much what I wanted to do at that stage, and that was why Portugal started coming back on the radar. I'd had like a 10-year advanced, very fast training and changing my perception of life. and then I met somebody. I started running some weekend festivals that were called Wildfire, and the idea was getting a group of people together for a spiritual family based weekend.
Nice.
And one of my gifts is networking and bringing people together that I'd met over the years that had different abilities, and we do sound healing workshops and yoga and tai chi and teachings and have stalls and things like that, and did those for 4 years. And during that process I met somebody who was already invested in a project in Portugal near to where I've ended up. And it matched my vision in 2002. So, and I kept getting goosebumps every time I was at the sacred site.
Goosebumps as well.
Oh God, it was really weird. Like by then I was going to Avebury and Glastonbury with the witches and the druids and doing circle. And on 3 separate occasions at separate sites, people were all talking about this same community in the area not far from where I am now, and saying that I needed to go, and it matched my vision. And I thought I had promised myself in 2002, let the children get through their education in the UK and then I'll look at it again. So that's what I ended up, I felt I had to do. So I came out here. The actual community, there were some challenges going on in that place, but I liked the area, and I was getting a lot of guidance by then about the area and what to look for. And that's what brought me out here beginning of 2013, and living on different pieces of land, quite often in community, because I believe that's the way we are going forward as humanity evolves. So having communities living with me, also having people coming on retreat or staying as residents and volunteers. So sometimes I could have up to like 20 people living with me on my land, in tents and vans and yurts and teepees and all of this kind of thing. And that's gradually progressed. And then carrying on that learning, you know, that there's so much to learn by living with others.
Oh God.
Good and bad, you've tried it yourself. And most of the time beautiful time, like-minded people, but I've had a lot of lessons around what sort of narcissistic type characters and empaths, and understanding that dynamic, and watching that playing out. So I've learned a lot over the last 10 years or so that I've been here in Portugal around those dynamics, and seeing how they've all started within the families as well, and the healing that needs to happen of the families and the learned behaviors. But I don't know if you ever heard of like family constellation work. I used to feel like I was living in a permanent family constellation, because people would come to the community in waves. So they would all kind of arrive and stay for the same period of time, and then on a day-to-day basis that you could see all of these family dynamics coming out in the group. And I'm very good at being the observer, but then being placed in that position of trying to help them see what was happening and what work they needed.
And do you know, it's funny you're saying it, because I know a lot of people who I observed it through traveling in Portugal, that people wanted to be in a community, but they didn't really want to do the work. And it's one of the things that I was writing for the Rainbow Centre that I was planning, was to be to have, you know, regular check-ins, you know, and then I know we visited Tamara and somebody was like, God, they do so much talking there. Why? And it's like, because your
Mm.
shit comes up, you know,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just
definitely.
like if you're living in close proximity, whether it's your partner, a family, a community or school, you know, all of us live in community, right? That's when I came back to
Yeah.
Wales, I could really see like the irony, like all towns are communities for goodness sake. And if you think that you're going to live in an
Mm.
intentional community and just escape all the stuff, no, it's not
Yeah,
because it's within, without,
right.
isn't it? So, you know,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
last few years when I've been going to Portugal, intentional, you know, people and all of that, and then coming back to a town here that's not so intentional, you're like, but look, there's a community here and it works. Like people are in
yeah,
community and it might not be expanded and it might not be 5D and they might not be spiritually aware, but they are actually cohesive units.
yes,
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's yeah, it's an interesting thing of like what our expectation is, what we think we want, and then actually the reality, because the stuff's
yeah, yes.
up wherever you are, isn't it? You know,
Yeah, yeah. And I also think the nature of Portugal is a lot of people who are traveling
sure.
have issues and they don't necessarily fit in. You know, a lot of the people I
Mm.
was meeting have come from, say, dysfunctional families, and
Oh,
they're looking for their own family, not quite knowing what that is, and taking their shadow self into that, and getting triggered, you know.
yep, hands
um
up, hands up. Like that
yeah,
was me, you
yeah,
know, before I landed in the Serra da Estrella area, you know, my partner and I, we just kind of escaped the party scene where there was just like
mm,
drugs and drink every weekend, you know, and I was just like, I'm
yeah,
so over it. I was never into it in the first place, but I didn't know
mm,
what what the conscious like spiritual community, which actually that spirituality was like in me from a kid. I just didn't know what to do with it, you know, and like you just kind of
yeah,
try and fit in. And so when I then ended up after a year of traveling, it was like, wow, I really want this new alternative life. And you know, 10 odd years later, I'm still having to do my work because you know what you want. And actually, this is what I talk to clients about, so I haven't spoken to our viewers about what you do, so we can talk about that in a minute. But I was going to say, with
yeah,
clients, you have an idea, and it's got to like boom, 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 drop down all your chakras, and then we give birth to it, you know, and
yeah,
like if you've got something on the way down, you're going to have to deal with all those parts. So me wanting to go to run
yeah.
away to Portugal and also have lived that vision of a healing community, it was like, nah, it wasn't meant to
Yes,
be
yeah,
then. It wasn't that I was
yeah,
fully only failing and not dealing with my shadow, but it wasn't the
yeah,
timing, you know, the paths weren't quite right. But
yeah,
so tell me about what you do now. So why, because obviously I've
yeah,
got that Ishtar Rathsi, that's your website. What do you offer
yeah.
people now, Andrea? What's your
um
you love doing with people?
what's yeah, what I'm doing, I've always found it quite difficult to come down to a specific name, because as
Yeah.
I've given you a glimpse of this very eclectic training, but what I realized over the time is that I'm working with energy, and I've done a lot of shamanic training. I've also worked with a lot of shamans from different native traditions as well, and also kind of like advanced healing. So I've done all the things like the hypnotherapy and neurolinguistic programming. So I see all of those things as tools now. And what I've realized in 25 years of training is that it's all about love. It's about the vibration of the frequency of love in simple terms. It's like
Yeah.
I I can call myself a shaman. I can say I'm a medicine woman. I'm working with energy, and I've got this toolbox. But I I realize, I call it like the alchemy of love, if you like. I realize it's holding space for somebody in a loving vibration, you know, open heart centered, loving vibration, and I can feel the energy in another person. So when I'm holding space, I'm kind of merged with the client. So what they're telling me about, and they're telling their story, not only can I feel that in me because that's my gift, but because we're in the same space, they take on my gift. So people who might not necessarily consider themselves psychic can then feel
Stop.
where they're storing these emotions. Yeah, so they can.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I started originally very recently I've still called myself like an embodied soul guide, because I feel I'm guiding people and I like to teach people. I've got very simple, effective, powerful techniques to release and let go of the past and anything that's holding you back, really, so that you can start to connect to source and connect to your soul. And I guide people to their optimum life, their optimum timeline for now. I studied astrology for a while as part of the Kabbalistic work in tarot, and so I kind of see it as stages. It's like where somebody's now and what their trauma is that they need to release and let go of, by making them aware of the body and bringing this love vibration in. It just goes in the moment. And it's very powerful. I believe we can heal very rapidly now, and I like to show people how to do that. And then we talk about what they want to do, because most people, they hear their soul is like this little voice, but they don't give it enough credit, if you like. They just think it's a dream and it's something they can't do, and it's just something in their ears. So I tend to look at people's birth charts and what's going on for them this year with the planets, and then give confirmation quite often to what all they already know. What they already know. It's like, well, I can see that your strengths are in this, or this is the type of partner, or this is the country that you're drawn to. And they go, well, I've had that thought, and that's always been there with me. So it's giving people the confidence to step into it. And I feel now is a really critical time for that. That's why part of the conversation I want to have with you today, as to why astrologically that we're in the energy is here now, and everything's speeding up, and we can do things quickly, and we can heal, and we can let go of the trauma. I've worked with people that have come from dysfunctional families, that have been sexually abused, that have had near-death experiences, and they loop in a story. It goes round, same story goes round and round and round and round. It only does that because when that incident happens, you kind of come out of your body, and the emotion of that trauma locks into the DNA. So when you try to come back into your body, you can't fully, because of this trauma. And it's that trauma that keeps you in the loop. So if you can work with the vibration of love and energy to release that from the body, the story goes. And I've had so many people that they either can't remember, they could have been crying one moment, the next moment we've done a simple technique, they can't, it's just gone. They're like, most of the time they laugh, they just go, they don't laugh, or they can't really remember it, and the whole emotion has disappeared in that moment. And something that's held them back for, do you know what I mean? Is years.
I really do. And I love doing what I do. And it's funny, you were saying about not knowing how to describe what you do. I don't have anywhere near as many trainings under my belt as you, but I also, in a sense, I guess I already knew that those things existed, but I didn't, I something in me knew I wasn't going to be doing that. Something in me, right? We get our own path. And so with the coaching, it's very somatic, and it's exactly like you. I mean, our mutual friend Gregory, it was his teacher that I trained with, and it's totally just get in your body. What are you thinking about? Where's the root? And you're with it. Do a few breaths, and it just goes, and it's like, oh, what was that? And it can be that quick. But I also know, like, this isn't to judge any other healing techniques, because sometimes somebody needs hearing, like that soul part when it comes in, isn't it? Like the story needs to be told to somebody, because that's the route into that part of our soul. We're kind of bringing it back and bringing it back into love, isn't it? So, I can really see how all of the therapists and the holistic therapy and all the different medicines, they all have their part in bringing us back to true self, isn't it? And the connection with source and self.
What I do find sometimes, when people go to counselling and they tell me they've been going there for years and they're still saying the same story. I find that's quite sad, because I think
Yeah, true.
they're reinforcing the same story by saying it over and again. They're actually reinforcing it, and they're not able to move on from it. And it's only if the counsellor is working with
Energy
able to
as well.
releasing the energy behind it,
Yeah,
that they stop telling the story.
yeah, I get you with
And
that.
so I think the somatic work now is in the
It's got to
time
be
we're
all
in, is
of
like
it, hasn't it? Yeah, I really
yeah,
get you with
yeah, you
that.
could go to a counsellor and talk it all through, but if you're still talking through it after several sessions, then you
It's not.
probably need to be going deeper and into the body. It's like I quite often only do one session with somebody, and
Yeah,
it's done,
it's
you
enough.
know, because I do believe in rapid healing, and I've witnessed it in so many cases over the years doing this DNA work, that I just like, it's there once you see it.
Yeah,
Once you see it, it's in
yeah.
your
No, it doesn't
awareness.
come back. It doesn't come back, does it?
It
Once
doesn't come
it's
back. You
gone.
let it
No,
go. Once it's
I
gone,
get
it's
you with
gone. You might go to it again at a deeper level later. You know, you have a deeper realization and a deeper lesson about something
that. Yeah,
in the future, but in that moment it's
same
gone
thing.
enough.
Yeah,
Yeah. And what I found is, if you're doing this work and releasing it, then it allows you to embody more light and allows your soul to come into your body more, and then you start to get more in alignment with your optimum path for this lifetime.
nice.
If that makes sense.
So that really does. It absolutely does, and it's why I stick with the coaching, even though sometimes it's almost like well, it's why the name dropped in for me, the Ascension Alchemist, because essentially that is what we're doing, right? We're flipping
Yeah,
switches, we're
yeah,
changing
we're
energy,
alchemists.
customizing things. And it's
Yeah,
true. No, I was talking to a client some years ago, and it came in from spirit that a lot of us who do coaching work and that type of stuff and mentoring, it's because we're embodied soul teachers. And it, of course,
yeah,
you can be guiding, you can be teaching, but like flipping the script with some energy
yeah.
tweaking is the release, because then people can shift and their energy is flowing again, isn't it? But so tell me, we were going to talk about today. We've had a full moon. Is it today, tonight, or was it last night? And
Yeah,
what's
the actual
going
full
on?
moon is tonight at 11:15, but
Oh,
you're in
amazing.
the energy. Yeah, yeah.
So
Which
we're
is
going
why
to
you
break
invited me to
it.
come. I was like, yes, let's do it, because there's a message that I'm
Right.
excited about, that I feel needs to
Right.
be
So what
out
do we
there.
need to know, Andrea? What do
We need to know. Well, I don't know how many of your viewers are aware that we're in a stage of evolution now. It's why we talk about ascension and humanity as a whole. Before that you evolve to the next stage, you go through this chaotic phase, which is what we're now seeing. So people might have heard about the dawning of Aquarius, and we're into a next phase now.
yeah.
But this year is it's all pretty critical now, up until sort of 2030, 2032.
Mm,
And this year being 2026 adds up to 9, so
yeah.
it's an ending. And we haven't even got a month left now
Yes.
for
Yeah.
for this ending. So I feel it's really important time to be doing this work, and what we need to be letting go of, because
Mhm.
next year 2026 adds up to 1, so it's a new beginning, and things are going to be speeding up. So
Yeah.
the Pisces area is coming to an end. We're seeing so much chaos in the outer world around governments
Mhm.
collapsing, money issues, politics, education, all of those things. And they're coming to the end of the time, but the media is wanting to put fear in people at this time,
Yeah.
and they're wanting to make fearful of this collapse. But
Yeah.
this collapse has to happen for the new energy to
Yeah.
come through.
Yeah.
And so this has been the beginning, the ending, and next year's a new beginning, and we're stepping into who we're going to be. You know, it's a gradual process,
Yeah.
and what we're here to bring to the new earth.
Yeah.
So does that make sense?
Yeah, it
So
really
I feel it's
does.
a very key time for humanity, and I feel people have got to come together in some sort of community to look out for each other, because as systems are collapsing, there will be a tendency to go into fear because we've been programmed to be fearful. And that's also part of the intention of the powers that be, because they want to keep us in that state and want to stop us ascending as well. So as astrologically these higher energies are coming through, they're there to support us stepping into who we're ultimately meant to be. So on a personal level, people might find this year's been quite challenging, that relationships are ending, jobs are ending, they're feeling the need to move, and we're currently in a period of anticipation of what's next. And I believe very much that the planets create an energy, and so because we're electromagnetic beings, we feel this energy from the planets and it influences us. And that's why astrology is actually a
what it is.
science, because
Yeah.
planets are affecting us. So this is this full moon is a super moon, so it has much more power, and it's in Gemini. With Gemini in its shadow aspect can be quite chaotic, because it's mutable. So this week we may be seeing more chaos and more fear mongering out there, but it can also be quite steady and bring up what needs to leave, even if it's simply like old habits, old behaviors, changing the way you eat, changing your relationships. That's what we're being asked to do between now and the end of the year, ready for this new beginning of what we're wanting to bring in. Does that make
No, I really do. And I was just thinking of this week, if you've seen me glaze over, I was thinking, God, that makes sense. I sanded down, like I've got an altar table, right? And I've had it for years. It's been to Portugal and back, and I think even back and back, or maybe the next time it didn't come back, but it's been to Portugal and back. And then my brother gave it to me, and I sanded the top because I get like incense on it, right? And I painted it, right? Varnished it, and I've kind of cleansed everything. And my house is in chaos for a few days, and I'm like, I can't bear the chaos. And I just this evening like put the Christmas tree up and all the decorations and put my altar back out, and I'm like, I can breathe now. My home is like, but I know what happens for me is, and I imagine most people are the same, right? You have some kind of something, you have an expansion. So one of the last episodes I was talking to Catherine about, we have expansion, but then you have your contraction, and then you have a bit of chaos, because if you're up leveling, like for example, getting ready to do this Ascension TV, your system kind of has to realign itself to be ready to like receive and do that and let that move through you. Your nervous system kind of has a clearer. And I see it happening in my home. So like if I do that, like I've had pictures that didn't have frames, and like I just ordered all the frames and I've put them all up, and it's like, God, I've been in this flat for 3 years, and because it's a rented flat, I don't want to mess the walls up and all that, but I was like, you know, I'm still here, right? Let's just do the next level. And then the calm. So anyway, that's what I was just thinking. Yeah,
I get it. And I've done the same this week. I've rearranged like my bedroom and my office space and the house, because suddenly like things are annoying me, and things have to go because they're not in alignment, and crystals are rearranged, and I've done all of that this week. I just had this burst of energy come in. It's like, right, this needs to be sorted, and things that I know are no longer in alignment with me because I've made a shift has to go. and that's
I really get you there, Andrea. And I just wanted to pop it in a little, like a plug, if you like. But actually, I have a tool, a PDF on my website that is Ascension Alignment Exploration. So, like, if you're thinking, like, well, what do I need to change? Well, and you don't know where to start, maybe you'll resonate, and maybe you've already done some kind of house shift, right? If you're watching this, but maybe you're like, I don't even know. Download the PDF, and what it is inviting you to do is look at all the different areas of your life. And so there's like diet, exercise, home, relationships, job, money, hobbies. I don't know, I can't think, but like you can basically, make a wheel of your life, right? And you can feel in, and you will know, like, how is my diet? Like, really, what do I need to put in? What do I need to let go of? And just one thing in and out can make a shift, okay,
Yeah.
what about my exercise? Like, am I really doing enough? Can I shift that? Like for years, I mean, I started yoga when I was 16, and if I'm in a good place, yoga before breakfast every day of the week, right? But if I'm
Yeah.
not, it
Yeah.
does slip, and then I'm like, hang on, enough, get back. And
Yeah.
it's a tell for me, if that
Yeah.
slips, something's out of whack and I need to do work, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's a
Yeah.
really good
Definitely.
tool for anybody who wants to, and it's free, you can download it, there's loads of other PDFs there too. But it's a good way of just checking in. And it's not about blaming and shaming, not at all. Like we are coming from, think about 100 years ago, like think where
Yeah.
just after World War I. We are changing so much. So this is not about beating ourselves up for some bad habit, because we're carrying so much shit from other lives, from our ancestors. But it's a really nice way of just getting an overview and thinking, maybe I'll just pick one thing to work on this
Yeah.
month, or maybe one thing the next month.
Yeah.
Don't try and do it all once. I've done that. It sucks, and it's you
Yeah.
you will you will ping back. You know what I mean? You can't do it all at
Yeah.
once, because your nervous system has to integrate. So anyway, I just thought I'd show that as
Yeah.
openness.
Yeah. And it's a perfect time to be doing it, because it's looking with the Gemini energy of what you need to change. So whether it's the diet or the exercise or work or relationship, and what to improve
Yeah.
your life, and then it'll improve your energy. So we've got that going on. And
Mhm.
then we've got Three Eye Atlas is in, I don't know if
Right.
you have, but
Yeah.
Three Eye Atlas, everyone's
Talk to
talking about
me.
it.
I see people talk
Yeah.
about it. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's not been on my close
Yeah.
horizon. So tell me what we need to know about that, Andrea.
Yeah, well, I've seen a lot of people saying a lot of different things, and it's depends how clear their channel is as to
Cool.
how they're interpreting what it is. So
Okay.
we all have our own different perception and reality. So everyone's getting a sense of what it is. But it's very interesting that it came out from the Great Attractor, and it's touching base with various planets. Obviously he's gone behind the sun. And then on the 19th of December, which is close to our winter solstice period, is
Mhm.
its closest approach to Earth. Well,
Interesting.
yeah.
Hi.
So it's bringing in interesting energy at a point where more people may be outside and be in nature, and being doing ceremony for the winter solstice.
Yep.
And because it's come from outside of our galaxy into our space,
Mm.
even if it's just a comet, it's an interstellar visitor, it brings that energy
I love
with it.
that. And
Yeah.
I'm getting
And it's
chills
bringing,
about that.
yeah, and it's touching various spaces. So as
Yeah.
it comes to Earth, it's bringing interstellar programming with it and codes.
Interesting. And the
Yeah.
because as soon as you started saying that, I was getting all the shivers and being like, because
Yeah.
I know one of the things that I found out, I was born on the 8th of the 8th, right? And I always thought numbers, there's something with 8 like, what is that?
Mm.
And it's the Lion's
Yeah.
Gate. One of the teachers that I had a session with us, she said, you chose that date because you're bringing in the galactic energy, and the starseed
Yeah.
energy. And I'm yet to really come into that, really. I'm still kind of stabilizing my own human energy fields, if you like. But
Yeah.
yeah, it feels like potentially that's going to do a lot of shifting with that then, right? It's going to bring
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
we are
Yeah.
not alone in the galaxy, people. Makadoe hilaya, granaya
Yeah.
shui.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I don't know if you've tuned into it for yourself yet, but because people have been saying so many things, I decided just to sit and meditate and tune into the energy.
Okay.
And what came into me was this love energy, this sense of
Beautiful.
love and unconditional, but it came down and rooted in my
Nice.
root chakra.
Love
It
that.
just it dropped down and just rooted, and then just this state of made me feel very grounded
Yep.
in that love vibration.
Oh, I
And
love
it
that.
was, I don't know, and I recommend people take some time to do that, especially around the 19th, when it is going to be at the closest
Totally.
point, and you
Right.
may be out celebrating the winter solstice, is to actually sit out in nature and ask for the connection, and ask to feel the energy of it, so that you're receiving codes from it in the same ways we're receiving codes from the sun because of all of the large solar flares that we're going through at the moment.
Yeah.
We are receiving all of these codes. And I don't know about you, but if there's a lot of solar activity and being here on the land, it's almost like it's insisting that I'm outside for the day. I can't stay
Yeah.
outside. I have to be out in
Yeah.
nature. And just even if I'm working outside, I don't want to be in the house, and I can feel the
Yeah.
fineness of the vibration coming
Yeah. Yeah.
through.
I
Yeah,
get you. I really get
yeah,
that.
yeah. And it's allowing that to kind of come through you, and for it to assist you with your evolution, and for you to be receiving the new codes and the new information. So um
I want to
and
say,
it's a message for you. Yeah, sorry.
oh, no, you're fine, you're fine. All I was going to say is, because I was getting loads of shivers then when you were saying that. And I just wanted to say, this is where trusting yourself, if you're watching this, I know you're not so used to working kind of maybe intuitively, I sometimes just go, oh, I was thinking I was going to do this, and I'm like, oh, I've really got to go there. And I live in a flat, I live in a town, and it's not my favorite thing. I moved here, and it's for house life stuff, and I've done tons of work on it. And I've obviously met my soul partner who lives next door. But we've got plans to be out on land because we like to be outside as
Yes.
more than I currently am. But sometimes I'll get this like, oh, I've just got to go, and I will literally take myself for a drive and then go out, in the hills or something where it's just really quiet. If you're getting that, go with it. It's your soul is helping you to just go. Like you
Yeah,
might go somewhere that you don't normally go. Like sometimes I'll have an idea. My human is like, oh, I'm going to go here. And then I'm like, no, I'm going there. That's how it
yeah,
starts working, the claircognizance. So if you're getting that and you get that over that period, follow it up if you can. Obviously, it's not always easy if you've got
yeah.
jobs, kids, other things, but if you can, like, make your excuses and just take your time, follow that, because it will really help you ground the energies. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely, and this is what we need to be doing now, is grounding the energy. A lot of clients are talking to me that they might be feeling anxious, or they've got old symptoms coming up, or then a lot of people aren't sleeping at the moment. They've got a disturbed sleep because the energies are so high. And if you're
Sure.
sensitive, you might not realize that it's the sun, it's three-eye atlas, it's the moon. You might not sleep on a full moon,
Yeah.
but the earth is also responding with what's known as the Schumann resonance. So as the light comes in from the sun, the earth responds. And I always see us as like little conduits between the two, almost like acupuncture needles.
Yeah.
And the energy is coming in from the sun, grounding through us into the earth. And sometimes I can like feel the pulse of the earth in my feet and in my root chakra. And
Yeah.
I know when there's movement, or I know there's solar flares because I can feel the earth. I can feel its
Feel what's happening.
response to it.
I really
I
get you.
quite often know if there's going to be like earthquakes and things because I can feel
Feel the
the
shifts.
tension
Sure.
building, the shifts.
I just wanted to pop in there as well for our viewers that if you're finding yourself being like this, like obviously, my story, I was sectioned, given the label of bipolar, and I was like, no. And the work that I did and have done over the years so that I was basically in how to say it, in alignment, so that I didn't have the symptoms, because whatever we call it, for me, it's a Kundalini awakening. And I must look into the solar flares around the time, because I know when there's solar flares, I can start feeling that until I'm like, oh yeah, okay, just dissipate the energy and it's gone. So
Mm.
because of our
Yeah.
Shushuma, our central energy column, if you've got any trauma at all, anything that has contracted you, your pipe, if you think of a hose with a kink in it, it's like this, and then it's going to burst a gasket. It's got, until it's unkinked and the energy can flow. So if you're getting any of that stuff at all, just check in your body, notice where it is. This is the somatic healing that Andrea and I were just talking about. Obviously slightly different method probably, but it's the
Mm.
essence is the same. Check in your body,
Yeah.
because usually at some place it might be your root chakra, you were scared, maybe you got some sexual abuse, maybe your power's been crushed and your solar plexus is out, maybe you got heartbroken, your heart is broke, yeah, or you're clenching in your throat. all of those blocks are, you know, or you're thinking too much. That's been my problem, right? At times you were going to be blocking the energy, and like you're going to
Mm.
fuse, you know, that part of you, it's like the fuse is bursting, and that's why
Yes.
it's a backup. So just check each of your chakra, if you know, if that helps, but just tune in your body, and just being present will start dissolving the energy, because you'll put, rather than your energy going out into doing and trying to get rid of the energy,
Yeah.
come back into your body, notice, be present, do a body scan of a pattern or something like that, and it will dissipate. It literally will just, oh, okay, the river can start flowing again, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And it's like we've got this is like a really important time for humanity, and this moon is also like what they call a grand cross, and it's about it's a kind of choice. There's a grand cross happening, and it's a choice point of whether we, people might have heard of like there being choosing what timeline you want, and that there's two timelines, and one is based on the emotion of fear and the other is based on the emotion of love. And it's about checking your vibration and letting go of all the fears and focusing on the vibration of love, so that you can choose the higher timeline for yourself as you evolve. And in the next few months we're in kind of a bit of a chrysalis stage. It's like the caterpillar. We're working this year on releasing all of our stuff and healing what we need to, and we're kind of in this chrysalis stage. So a lot of people are describing how they don't really know who they are and what they're going to be doing next. They can feel something's coming in, but they don't really
God,
know what it is.
yeah.
Yeah, and we're in, and that's okay. Astrologically, we're going to be in this stage for the next few months. We might have an inkling of something coming in, but it's not actually manifesting. And it's like, don't get frustrated with it, because
Right.
the energy doesn't really align up until probably mid March. So the shifts that are
Right.
happening
Okay.
January, February are moving us towards that. And I
Yeah.
don't, you this is probably going to give you goosebumps, but on the
Oh, I've been
16th of
having those
March,
all the time you've been speaking.
yeah. When 3i Atlas leaves our solar system, it goes past Jupiter. But the
Right.
16th of March is also a very important date, I learned today, because it's when the Cathars were being persecuted by the Catholics, and they were coming, they couldn't get the information out of the Cathars, so they were coming to get them and try and get that information. They lit a ring of fire around the castle that the last Cathars were in, and instead of being captured, and they walked into the fire.
I am getting
And
shivers all over
yeah,
me.
yeah, and they released their
God.
physical bodies and they ascended into their light bodies, because they knew how to ascend into their light bodies. And that's the same day that 3i Atlas will make contact with Jupiter and then leave our solar system. So
Wow.
it's almost
Oh
like it's
my
been a
God.
messenger. I
I'm
want to
like
say a
shiver,
messenger for
shiver, shiver,
God. It's the
shiver.
expression.
Now
Yeah,
I'm like, was
it's
I a Cathar? Was what?
yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
Well, it's very
Interesting.
possible. I have had past life with the Essenes, and I resonate very highly with that. And I've read a lot of books about the alternative Jesus story, and
Yeah.
Mary Magdalene, and the Essenes, and all of that. So, which are very similar people and similar beliefs. So it's kind of quite interesting. If you look at, there's a guy called Stephen Burns, and he's talked a lot about the 3i Atlas and the planets that it's gone to and what the energy's been, and like it was almost very deliberate as to where it's gone and the messages it's giving, and the
Right.
information that it's bringing through at this really critical time for humanity when we're making this choice. And
Okay.
because he's saying it's a good thing that it's exiting near Jupiter, because Jupiter is more about joy and transformation and expansion.
Right.
So
So it's kind of gone in,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
boom.
and then out, and then it will go back out of
You
Oh,
know, that makes so much sense because what I'm seeing is,
mm,
like, if I think of my year, you said it's a universal 9 year. For me, it's a 7 year. I had somebody do my numerology, beautiful guy Kevin, and oh, it was so fun to see. And he's like, mine has been a 7 year, and he's like, you're probably going to be very in, and doing a lot of introspection. And
yeah,
I really have, like, all the stuff's been coming up, and it's like, right, I thought I dealt with that. No, I hadn't. Right, next layer, next layer. And I have felt very like, I've got all these projects that are like, like saplings, let's just say. And I'm like, whoa, what's going? And they're like, they're not that complicated. Why can't I do it? And it's like, it's because it's not the time. Like, actually, if I do some work on it, but actually spend more time with myself, just going within, being present to what's moving through my system. And then, yeah, in March, oh yeah, we've done it, right? Oh, we're coming out of the
yeah,
winter. And a lot of people, we want to, people are knowing the term wintering. We do want to draw in this,
yeah.
anyway. So it's like, don't be beating ourselves up. We can plant the seeds, we can do our introspection, and then look forward to March.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And if we follow this cycle of the year, and we're following nature, nature at this time is shedding its leaves, and the
Mm,
acorns are on the ground, and the seeds are being shown, but you won't see any growth until the spring. And
yeah,
if we were living more in harmony with nature, that's the cycle we should be
yeah,
on now. So it's like, what are you wanting to shed and let go of and review, and what do you want to go forward with next year? And the planets will be supporting
yeah,
that, but
yeah,
things will be going a lot faster, and maybe look more chaotic in the outside world. And it's really, if people can try not to watch TV and don't read the news and don't doom scroll on social media too much, because all of those things lower your vibration and they bring you into a fear. And
yeah,
the meditation I was wanting to do really was, I hear a lot of astrologers and people talking about, oh, you need to center, you need to sit with yourself, you need to center,
yeah,
and bring your energy inward, and let go of, and don't just observe what's going on in the outside world,
sure.
but don't attach too much emotion to it. And this is I think quite a critical time to let people know that, and for people to
Yeah.
be checking in
It's
with
so
each
true
other. So
because
yeah.
I heard something the other day and I thought, God, yeah, it's so true. Like I haven't watched the news for years. I think 2011, 2012 was the last time I lived somewhere with a TV, and that was it, just don't. And obviously, but having you using social media for sharing things and connecting with people,
Mm,
it has that filter in. A lot of people
mm,
that I'm connected with are kind of already awakening and all this stuff. So I don't get like a lot of negative, but it comes through. And sometimes
yeah.
there's almost this like you should be doing more for the people like the other side of the world. And it's like, it's a nice idea, but if you actually saw like every single thing, it's too much. Like we have to bring
Mm,
it back and stabilize us and make our prayers. Like for sure, if you've got loads of money, great,
yeah.
send money. And if you really feel like you need to go and do that stuff, but we're all like every single person has access to the same like high self resources guides, and we're all going through different journeys. And actually, you can't just take it away from somebody because it's like that's
No.
part of their soul journey. Obviously, we don't want people to
Yeah.
suffer, but like trying to take on the world like I did for years, and bit
Yeah.
by bit I'm like, okay, I'm going to take that off, take that
Yeah.
off because it's not
Yeah.
my sole responsibility. Be here, take the, like look after just the people around you, and that ripples out, isn't it? We can't do it all.
Yeah.
Don't not do anything, fine, if you really have that true arising action, but don't let it overwhelm you. I spent honestly my 20s, I had my big awakening always so around like 99 2000. And I know it's just like, and I already felt it as a kid, like, what the hell? Where do I start? Look at the world. Oh my God, there's so much, there's so much. And I was like, I just couldn't function really because there was so much that
No.
I wanted to do. Then I wasn't actually saying, no, but what is it for me to do? What is my part? And let
Yeah.
that person do their part. So we're going to do a
Yeah.
meditation now. Are you okay to do that? Yeah, because
Yes.
it
Yes.
bring us
Yeah.
back in and bring us back to
It's
center.
bringing people back, because there's especially I always forget the right wording for it, but it's like where you put your attention is where your energy flows. So if you're putting your attention on all of the disasters and the chaos in the world and all the conspiracies, then your energy is going to it. You're actually feeding it and sustaining it. And if you take your energy away from that and focus on what you personally can create in the world for the new earth that's coming, and put your energy into feeding that. And that was a big lesson for me living on the land here. During COVID, I got so down so many blooming rabbit holes about everything that was going on, and felt my mood really, really low. Like you said, becoming really depressed. I thought, I'm not serving anyone. I'm spending hours sitting on the internet researching all of this stuff and going, but it's not my place to change those things. Humanity's chosen that group of people, as hard as it sounds, have chosen that. And if we don't give attention to it, it will collapse, and it is collapsing. And if everybody was focusing on the positive that they want to create in the world, then we'll soon shift the balance and the dynamics, and that will be what comes in. So that's why I say it's really important to stay centered. And I one of my teachers would always say to me, Andrea, dawn to dusk and dusk to dawn. So I would always have to do the meditation in the morning when I wake up and when I go to bed, so that I'm aligned in my own energy field and I don't have anything else. Because people don't realize in their day-to-day interactions, you pick up other people's energy, and then it can be in your field and it can change your mood. And I've had people feeling panicked and anxious or depressed or having migraines or feeling sick, and it's just because they have another energy in their field and their body is reacting to it and trying to tell them. So this is about, this meditation is I can do it really quickly in less than 5 minutes when I'm doing it myself, but I try and talk people through it, and it's about connecting to source and seeing the column of light coming down, and opening each of the chakras, and how you're talking earlier about chakras, how you feel in each one, and grounding yourself to earth. But we have an electromagnetic field around you, so it's like seeing the energy going out into your electromagnetic fields. So protection is so important, and people aren't protecting their energy. So it's becoming aware of how to protect your energy field, especially if you are someone who's highly sensitive, so that you can go to the supermarket and not come out feeling really bad because you've picked up everyone else's shit while you've been in there. So it's keeping yourself in this bubble of light. And if you do that in the morning and you do it again in the evening, you then will go to have a much calmer, and it keeps you centered. So there's different layers of meditations I do, and this is like the first layer in order to be aware that you're an electromagnetic being, and you need to take responsibility for keeping that clean, keeping your energy clean. So that's my intention.
Beautiful. I'm really looking forward to that, Andrea. Great. So Andrea, let's go ahead and do the meditation. And before we start, I'm just going to say, if anyone's watching this, please don't do this while you're driving. If you're just listening along, make sure you're somewhere really safe to do this, and that you can be undisturbed and take your time. And if you are somewhere where it's a bit busier, just come back and do it later, maybe before bed or in the morning where you're on your own. Okay, so just be mindful, guys, about what you're doing and how you're doing your meditation. Okay, let's go, Andrea.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so as I say, this is what I call the I am meditation. So it's to bring you back to yourself and centered, and have the opportunity to kind of check your energy out. Ideally do it first thing in the morning and at night. So I do it when I'm laying down in bed, but if you prefer sitting up, then that's okay. Right. So if we're ready, then we'll begin. So if you can just close your eyes and get yourself comfortable, and just take in a few deep breaths. So breathing into the count of 4 and out to the count of 4, and then breathing into the count of 4 and out to the count of 4, and just keep that breath going, breathing in and breathing out, so that you gradually feeling your body calming and relaxing. Now we're going to connect to what I would call source, or you may call it God or the goddess. It's the pool of energy that our divine spark originally came from. And you're going to see your column of light coming from this pool of energy from source, coming down towards you in your physical form. And we're going to connect with your higher self and your soul and bring them closer to your physical form. Some of them may be able to actually embody aspects of this, but just know that you're now connected. And we're first going to look at the crown chakra at the top of your head. And I want you to see this spinning slowly in a clockwise direction. And just ask for any negative energy to be cleared from this space as it slowly spins and comes into the perfect balance for the day. You may feel and sense tingling on the top of your head, or you may see the color white. As that column of light comes down to your third eye in the center of your forehead, your chakras have a back and a front to them. And just see the color, might be a violet or a color or a purple. And again, ask it to spin slowly and to cleanse any negative energy or debris. And the color, if you're aware of colors, may change, or again, you just might feel it and sense it in the center of your forehead and also on the back of your head. We then bring the column of light down to your throat. And this is where you can speak your truth. You can also have negative energy here if you're not fully in your divine truth. And see that spinning and opening. And this is usually the color blue, may say indigo, at the back and the front of your neck and the center of your throat. And then we're bringing the column of light down to the heart. And in the heart, you may see the colors pink or a green, depending if you're connecting to your high or your low heart. And again, there's like a funnel coming out the back and the front, clearing any negative energy from there. As you bring the energy down to your solar plexus, which is a couple of fingers width above your navel. And this is your divine power center. Healthy solar plexus is usually yellow, like the color of the sun, and is connected to your mind. And just see this spinning and opening, clearing out any debris and coming back into balance. As you go down to your sacral chakra in the center of your pelvic area, this is your sexual energy and your creativity. And again, needs to be cleared and spun gently, coming back into balance. And then down to your root chakra near your perineum. This should be red. And if it's a darker color, just keep spinning and opening and clearing, asking it to come into balance. And then this column of light goes down towards the ground. Beneath your feet, you have your earth star chakra. And this is where you anchor into the earth. And just feel this opening and connecting you and helping you to ground your light to this earth. You may also feel the bottoms of your feet tingling as the silver roots connect you from your reflexology points down into the earth, helping you and assisting you to ground further. And then we're going to take this column of light and maybe your roots down past the different layers of the earth, the stone people and the crystal people, going deeper and deeper and deeper down into the earth, into Gaia, our mother, as it goes deeper and deeper, grounding you and rooting you as you go towards the center of the earth. And the center of the earth, you may be aware of a crystal and another body where you're going to anchor your roots and your earth and connect. And here at the center of the earth, you can bring the earth energy of our mother back up the column, back up your roots, and bringing the energy from the earth up the same journey, up your column, up your roots, heading back towards your physical form, past the crystal people and the stone people, and through the various layers of the earth, as it reconnects to the bottom of your feet, assisting you to ground, feel safe, secure, and supported. And then brings the energy up to your root chakra. And the energy goes back up through your column of light. So you're now connected to Source, to the Sky Father, and to the Earth Mother, the divine masculine, the divine feminine energy, as that energy comes back up and then goes up through your crown chakra. And then it's going to come out like a fountain. You may see the white light turning into rainbow colors as the fountain of light goes out and around you and surrounds you. It's going to be going through your torus, your toroid field, your electromagnetic field, just clearing and cleansing your field of any negative energy or any negative entities that you may have picked up either during the course of the day or overnight, cleansing and protecting your energy field, sealing in your light. The energy just keeps fountaining. So you have this constant flow of the light from the source coming down to the earth and then coming back up and going out through your toroid field. Just to get a sense of how you're feeling in this state, you may feel that you energetically want to just drop back a little bit. This is into what we call your perfect blueprint. It's out of the trauma field of the physical body. And here you're in the vibration of unconditional love from Source. By going through your day in this state, you will experience a much better aligned day, a much lighter, loving day, where you naturally attract what is due to come to you, what is naturally yours. And just get this sense of love and the sense of bliss as you start to bring your awareness back into this room and back into this time, back into this now moment. Know you are safe and secure and protected in your own electromagnetic field of love. And just start to bring your awareness back to your body. And when you're ready, start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, and you may want to move your body and start to stretch and get present. And when you're ready, you can now open your eyes.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Andrea.
That's okay. How are you feeling?
Really
You look
sent out. I'm like all snuggled up in my blanket. I'm like, oh yeah, that's it.
yeah.
Love
I
it.
find it kind of quite a dreamy
Yeah,
state, in a bliss state. And
lovely.
when I do this, I have my day is very different.
Yeah, yeah,
Very chilled. You're just, sometimes you have a day when you you're in the zone
yes,
and everything
yeah.
just flows and it's like magic.
I really
This is
get
what
you, Andrea. And you
yeah,
know what's coming to me is that 2012, right? I'd gone through awakenings, I got sectioned, I shut it all down, I kind of acted normal, so no one, and I just kind of, and
yeah,
then 2012 came and it was like, I'd been doing yoga all that time, but it was like, oh, now I got it, something in me went bing, and I'd fallen off my horse.
yeah,
Not my horse, the horse on my 30th birthday. That was another like, oh, the spirit is like, this is intervention. Come on now. And I was doing the
yeah,
chakra meditations every day, and it just
yeah,
was so zen. I mean, yoga has always been that for me, playing music, 'cause I've played music a lot. And I know I have being arrogant in the sense of going, God, it feels so good when you do it, but you don't keep it up. And it's a bit
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
having a shower and going wicked and then expecting that you'll just stay in that place.
Same.
It doesn't
Yeah.
work like that.
Yeah.
The same with cleaning your
Yes.
house, right? You
Yeah.
clean up, you're like,
Yeah.
yes. And then a few days later, oh, I got to clean up again. Yeah. And so actually,
Yes.
if you've ever had that as well, people, if you're watching, you won't be alone. And doing that with you, it's just like, geez, it's that simple to just cleanse the energy, bring in, because when you're doing
Yeah.
that, you're bringing in every frequency that you need. Like source comes in as white, and I was getting white at the top, and then it was coming into different colors, and you can call in colors that you think you want, and if you trust your intuition you'll get the color. But if you call in just that white energy, you will literally be filled up and you're back. Like that energy is self-writing. That's why energy healing works.
Yeah.
It literally cleans, clears, and aligns us on a subatomic level. That is the miracle of energy healing. And
Yeah.
if you're in a doubting phase, fine, whatever, but you do this a few times and see how, if you do it every day in the morning, right? See how your life changes. And it's same. If I do yoga,
Yeah.
that's what my day is. Just tends to be like
Yeah.
shoo, 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 no
Yeah.
drama. Just here's my intention. I get my thing done. There's no problem. You're just in God mode. My coach teacher calls it God.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
your
Exactly.
I am presence. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Andrea.
That's okay. That's okay. It's my
I got to say,
pleasure.
I just could chat to you like for hours. We got so many themes we could talk about, but I'm going to say we're going to round it
Yeah.
up, and then do you promise to come back and talk to us some more about astrology?
Yes.
All the
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like, all the
Yeah,
different
I can, and yeah, I can tell you. I've said to you, I've got such an eclectic background in
exactly.
spirituality, and I just love it. I've studied it's my passion. I've studied so much, and I like sharing that information and trying to share it in a simple
Sure.
way, to help
Bite-sized.
people out. Yeah, bite-sized things that can help people on day to day with. Yeah, so I'd
Yeah.
love to come in and
Beautiful.
share more. Definitely,
Look
definitely.
forward to that, because it's one of my passions, like in my book, the Who Called You Crazy, and one of the to-dos is go explore yourself. It doesn't mean that you are a Leo, like that's your label, that's all you are. No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
about that. It's just looking at the influences and the astrology and how that can affect your day-to-day living, like why you had certain challenges. Like I recently found out I had a yod, and I was like, oh, maybe you can
yeah. It
figure
makes
out
so much
that.
sense.
I'm like, right, now I get it. Thanks. Along with all
Yeah,
the stuff, right? The moon in Scorpio, and I found out that I was like, oh, so I reckon let's do a astro
yeah,
one, because in the
yeah,
very least, if you just start with the main three, you're going to have so much more understanding. When I expected myself to be like a Leo all the time, it just didn't make sense. When I found out the moon in Scorpio, I was like, oh,
no,
that's more me. And the Virgo
yeah,
rising, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm total nerd, right? Just being a
yeah.
Leo, no, it wasn't me, right? So anyway,
No,
so
it's not
uh,
enough.
I will look
Yeah,
forward to having a chat with you,
yeah,
and bringing more of your wisdom to us. So if you have loved what you see with Andrea, go check her work out. You can see the website there, ishtar-rathsi.com. I'll put the links below as well, and you can find out more about what Andrea does. You can follow her on Facebook as well, because she does little lives, which are beautiful, and you can get to know more about her journey as well. So amazing. Thank you so much. If you
yes.
have one thing you
Thank
want
you.
to share with viewers before you go, or any bit of wisdom or advice, what would it be? Just to put you on the spot there.
Um, I had what I call my drop downs from my message the other day, and it was very much saying that the time now is we need to take a leap of faith in order to achieve freedom. And that was very where that is the energy for now. It's just like whatever you've been wanting to do,
Do it.
just do it, just do.
Well,
And it's accepting you want to do it, and then the universe will conspire to help you.
I have
The
so
magic
got you
helps,
there,
it happens,
Andrea. Yeah. And this
and it
this is what
brings,
Ascension TV is about, right? I used
yeah,
to think, I had this realization today, okay, 8 years ago, I had this feeling like I'm going to be on TV. I'm going to be on TV. And I
yes,
kind of feeling like it might be connected to my book. And then it just occurred to me today, I'm like, I'm already living it. Who am I waiting
Yeah.
for? What, like I'm going to wait for Oprah to invite me onto her show? No, I'm running a show. Like, so what? It's on YouTube. So what? It's really lo-fi.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? It's
No.
like my passion, like Andrea's, like so many light workers, is like, I just want to plant those seeds. I want to share my stories, share other people's stories so people aren't so alone in their journey. Share some tools that are really easy to get, so that you can do in your daily life. So if you're waking up, you can help stabilize your energy and da 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 da. So you know what, just you know, you can plant the seed. You might buy a domain name, you might scribble down your idea. It doesn't mean you have to do it all in a day, but you can just take those little seeds and then you'll be doing it. So that's all it is, isn't it? So love that, Andrea.
Yes.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah,
Time is
definitely.
now. Amazing.
It is now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Andrea. It's been beautiful.
That's okay. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
brilliant. So much
Yeah.
love to you all, and we will see you again on Ascension TV Online. Pop your comments there, and I'm sure Andrea will be there to reply as well if you've got any queries. And do reach out if you've got any questions or feedback, and we'll get back to you. So much love to you all. Take care of yourself. So many blessings, and see you next time, guys.